Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Chris, your NFL writer here at OccupyFantasy.com, here with some NFL DFS picks and tips for the tight end position here in Week 3. We're dropping these position preview videos every week throughout the season, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel to get notified when we have a new one for you. If you like what we do here today, please give us a like on this video. Lets us know that you enjoyed it and you want to see more content like this. We've already shared our position previews for the other big positions on the slate: quarterback, running back, and wide receiver on the channel, so make sure that you check those out. They're available for you to check out already on the playlist here for these videos. Do you have any questions for us about a tight end? We're going to talk about a few here. If we missed any you wanted to hear more about, definitely, the comment section below, let us know and we can answer you and let you know what we think about that tight end in there. You can also join our Discord. That's a good place to talk to us. We have Occupy staff and other members, of our Discord community asking questions about not just the Week 3 NFL slates, but every single slate that is going on throughout the season, not just in NFL, but in the other sports and their seasons that are going on as well. So it's certainly an interesting community to consider joining if you like hearing more about this type of stuff. Tight end position, and we have a lot of the big boys back on the main slate here in Week 3. So, that's probably where most people are going to look as they build their lineups. Got Travis Kelce with the Kansas City Chiefs. We project him for 8 targets in the Occupy model this week. Occupy model is up and running at OccupyFantasy.com. That's available to full subscribers of the website, so make sure you check that out if you haven't already. Kelce with a pretty elite rate of splitting out on either the slot or wide for a tight end so far this year via, according to Pro Football Focus PFF data, like roughly 90% last week. That was pretty strong against the Ravens. And he has a 3.9, just about 3.9 yards per route run here in 2021, which is absolutely absurd, especially for a tight end. So we're done, right? Travis Kelce, best tight end on the slate. He's actually scored over 20.8, at least or over 20.8 DraftKings points in like 9 straight football games that matter. So yeah, let's just plug in Kelce and we're done, right? No, obviously we can't do that. We do like Travis Kelce, think that he's a good player to consider, but with everything else that's available on this slate, he may not fit the type of lineup that you're liking. And if you're building multiple lineups, he's obviously not the only guy to consider here this week as well. Mark Andrews has not had a big game yet. In fact, Lamar Jackson has been targeting each of Hollywood Brown and Sammy Watkins a bit more frequently through the first 2 weeks of play. He should probably consider going Andrews' direction, though, this week against the Lions. Through 2 weeks of play, the Lions have actually graded out as the worst defense against the tight end position, according to the DVOA data from Football Outsiders anyway. So that makes Andrews a pretty interesting play here. They just gave this guy a big contract. They think he's a very important part of their offense. Obviously, if they're going to give him that much money, it's time to get big Mark Andrews into the end zone and kind of make Andrews feel a little bit better about everything that's been going on this year. The Ravens have a really, really good spot here against the Lions to utilize their big tight end. TJ Hawkinson has been Jared Goff's favorite target through 2 weeks of play, and he's the other side here of that game. So if we think the Ravens are going to be the team to beat in that game, the Ravens are going to be playing from ahead, then that means that the Lions are once again going to be playing a little bit of catch-up. And that means that TJ Hawkinson is going to have plenty of opportunity to get targets from Jared Goff in the passing game. He was targeted on 25% of the routes that he ran last week alone. So, definitely a good indication that TJ Hawkinson is going to continue to be the primary receiving threat for the Detroit Lions. And there's really no reason not to consider him, with his price being just $5,200 here on DraftKings and $6,300 overall on the FanDuel side of things here in Week 3. First 2 weeks of the year, we've talked about him. Rookie sensation Kyle Pitts hasn't yet got a picture here. None of the rookies do on DraftKings. Hasn't yet found the end zone, but those things are going to come for Kyle Pitts. He's splitting out in the slot or wide on over 60% of his routes roughly through 2 weeks of play. That's pretty high upside. His average depth of target right around 8 yards on his targets. Kyle Pitts could actually even see his route participation and his role grow because Russell Gage, one of the secondary wide receivers for the Falcons, other than Calvin Ridley, actually considered week to week with an injury right now, which may elevate, the ceiling projection definitely, but also the floor for Kyle Pitts in their matchup here against the New York Giants in Week 3 across the NFL. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the walking touchdown himself. I mean, Rob Gronkowski is on pace for 34 touchdowns this year. That's how these things work, right? He's got 2 in each of the games. He'll just get 2 forever. No, I mean, obviously that's not going to happen, but hard not to think that Tom Brady is going to not look for his favorite receiving target, down in the red zone area in week 3. It's certainly something he's done throughout his career, and we've seen Gronk's role increase here in 2021 through 2 weeks of play. He was a little bit of a secondary player in this offense, at least early in the 2020 season, coming back from his year off. He's hit the ground running with Brady this year, running a ton of routes, very involved, especially in the red zone. In a high-scoring game, Gronkowski probably going to be out there as another weapon for them again. Hard not to consider him as a result. So, Rob Gronkowski certainly an interesting play here in week 3. You want some off-the-board plays to consider. This is definitely one of them. Facing the toughest defense against tight ends so far here in 2021. Jack Doyle is, without question, the primary tight end, at least right now, for the Colts in the 2021 season. A lot of targets last week against the Rams in a game they needed to try and pass to stay in it. Some uncertainty here. If Carson Wentz is not playing and Jacob Eason is in over him for week 3, may kind of change our feeling on this. So wait until we have our daily plug out on Friday to see if we actually advocate playing Jack Doyle in your lineups. But he is clearly the route leader, the snap leader, the opportunity leader at tight end for the Indianapolis Colts. Salary still extremely affordable here on DraftKings and FanDuel. $4,800 over on the FanDuel side of things. You can see he's $3,400 here on DraftKings. We like Jack Doyle quite a bit. For that reason, if he continues to see 4 or 5 targets or so at that price, he'll be a pretty interesting tournament option at the position. And the Bears have announced that Justin Fields will be the starter for at least 1 week. We hope beyond that. Want to see the talented Ohio State product get a fair shot here. In the preseason, Justin Fields had a nice connection with some of the tight ends that he played with. It wasn't necessarily Cole Kmet. It was guys like Jesper Horsted, in those games for him. But definitely think Kmet will be interesting. He's clearly playing ahead of Jimmy Graham. He has played more snaps, ran more routes through the first 2 weeks of play. So Kmet is the tight end to play if you're playing one from the Chicago Bears. And now his quarterback situation, we think anyway, has improved with Justin Fields under center. Kmet could be an interesting kind of puntish play at the position at these prices. $3,200 on DraftKings, $4,900 on FanDuel. Can't forget, obviously, the wide receiver one for his own team. And didn't necessarily come through in week 2 for you after his big week 1 game. But Darren Waller is always a great play at this position. Playing the Miami Dolphins. Concern there might be, is Miami even competitive? Do the Raiders have to even pass a lot in that game? So that's certainly something to think about. Waller a little bit off of our radar this week, but always a good player to consider when looking at the tight end position. And then, we said this to you throughout the 2020 season. It has remained true here in 2021. Logan Thomas is running a ton of routes, seeing a lot of opportunity. Seems to be flying under the radar here in a tough game against the Bills, admittedly, but he is still clearly one of the top receiving options for the Washington football team, and that merits some consideration here as well as another guy to look to use in your Week 3 NFL DFS lineups. That's going to do it, folks. We've gone through all the positions this week for you. If you missed our videos on quarterbacks, running backs, or wide receivers, certainly feel free to go back into the channel and check those out. We recommend it. If we didn't talk about a tight end you were hoping to hear more about in this video, drop a comment below. We'd be happy to answer that for you there. We also have our Discord, which is linked through a button that is above the description of the video. So you can jump into our Discord and you can chat with other Occupy subscribers as well as staff members like myself about the upcoming action in week 3 and beyond. The Daily Plug, OccupyFantasy.com. That's our weekly rundown of the entire slate. We'll give our favorite plays, not just at tight end, but also at quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Give you our favorite contest recommendations, depending on your bankroll tier. Give you some recommendations on how to attack the slate in low-risk contests, which would be, your double-ups, your head-to-heads, things like that. And high-risk contests, which would be your, massive tournaments like this Millionaire Maker, but also the better contests you should be playing, like 100-player leagues and smaller contests with like 100 players or less as well. Strategies certainly apply, and we'll tailor the strategies based off of the context of the slate, which is the important stuff, right? So we have that in there for you as well. That's going to do it for this video, folks. We really appreciate you watching. If you liked what we did here today, please give us a thumbs up on the video. It lets us know that you want to see more of this type of content. And if you aren't already, please subscribe to the channel. The button's right below the video here. That would be great and appreciated. Once again, for Occupy Fantasy, I am Chris. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.